Now, Erie's premier podcast. News about music, health, and what's happening. It's Breakfast with Nat the Hat in the 814. Sponsored by Erie Insurance.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. The holiday season is on, and this week's show is the king of the scene.
Hello, me? Is that
Jack.
you're talking
You're
to
the
me?
king of the scene.
All right. I'll
and
be
the
there.
roller derby queens. It's Jack Stevenson, who truly is the king of the local scene. And I am excited, I don't know about you, Jack, to learn all about the Erie Roller Derby with head coach Goldie Rocks. Hi, Gold.
Hey there.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
And our production chair, Gretchen Von Metal. And I can't think of a better way to start out the show than playing a little Jim Croce. You mind?
Oh, well, yeah. What song you got going?
What do you think?
I got.
Come on, Jack.
Is it the roller derby?
Gonna tell you a story that you won't believe. But I fell in love last Friday evening with the girl I saw on a barroom TV screen. Well, I was just getting ready to get my hat when she caught my eye, and I put it back, and I ordered myself a couple of more shots and beers. The night that I fell in love with a roller derby queen, around and round, all round and round. Meanest Uncle Woman that anybody ever seen. Down in the arena, she was 5'6", 215, a bleach blonde bomber with a streak of mean. She knew how to knuckle and she knew how to scuffle and fight. Said that she was built like a refrigerator with a head. Her fans called her Tuffy, but all her buddies called her Spike. You know that I fell in love with a roller derby queen, around and round, all round and round. The meanest Uncle Woman that anybody ever seen. Down in the arena. But to fall in love with this heavy-duty woman I've been speaking of. Things were kind of bad until the day she skated into my life. Well, she might be nasty, she might be fat, but I never met a person who would tell her that. She's my bleach blonde bomber, my heavy-handed hack-and-sack mama. Know that I fell in love.
I think that's a way to start out talking to the roller derby gals.
Oh.
Right? Jack,
Yeah, I
what do you
can't beat
think?
that tune.
Yeah. We welcome the Erie Roller Derby coach, Goldie Rocks. Goldie, good day to you. And also prod chair, Gretel Von Metal. Ladies, let's talk about the Derby. Let's go back in history. Like, when did this all start?
Yeah. Right.
Let me get Wikipedia up.
1930s. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
No, that is accurate. And
yeah. You girls do not look that old.
We've aged very well. It's the Derby.
It actually came out of from roller skating races, in the 19th century, where
roller
people would
skating
say
races.
I'm going to roller skate around this oval for 3 days or something like that. And people would
Jeez.
come and watch.
So they didn't have much to do.
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
Same
at
as
least they
the
had
dance
roller skates
marathons.
on.
Every
Yeah,
time I had
exactly.
roller skates on, I just enjoyed pickup skate. I don't know. That's the difference. But let's talk about Erie Roller Derby. How did that start?
Well, why don't I talk about the modern roller derby,
Yes,
and then
please.
you talk about Erie.
The modern.
Ooh, I didn't know
There's
that.
Yeah, so like Goldie said, in the 30s, roller derby started to be a thing that was a kind of traveling show on a bank track, and it was kind of violent, exhibitionist. Yeah,
Pretty violent.
it was a show,
Sure.
and then you'll remember. I mean, it grew in popularity even into the 70s. It was on television with a bank track, and maybe Kansas City Bomber and all of that kind
Right.
of 70s hardcore roller derby stuff.
I always kind of compared it to that super pro wrestling,
It
but
is,
for, that
being
entertainment
on-
factor.
Yes,
Yeah.
but being on roller skates.
Yeah.
Right. And then it kind of died out into the 80s. And then in about 2000 in Austin, Texas, a group of people decided that they wanted to start a roller derby league as a kind of performance art exhibition kind of thing. So they decided to revive it, and they kind of looked at how it worked before and made up their own set of rules. And the big change they made was that they just played it on a flat surface, because building this ramp, this bank track, to play
Right.
roller derby on is logistically a nightmare.
Oh.
So they started and they formed these teams locally, and it was a little hokey and a little silly. And then a lot of the players were like, well, we actually really enjoy this, and we kind of want to make it more of a sport. And so they splintered off and started their own organization called the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, which now is worldwide, has leagues all over the world. We are a member in Erie.
Wow.
Like 500 or so leagues just in the U.S.
Wow.
And so they publish a standard book of rules that we follow and regulations for how to lay out the track and how to play the game and everything like that. And they formed, in the early 2000s, and it's just grown and grown and grown.
Wow.
So when you say lay out the track,
Yeah.
is there a ball or something?
No.
No.
It's an oval.
Where's the ball?
Where?
It's more or less an oval track.
Okay.
And just to get into, I guess, the logistics of the game.
Right.
So you have 4 players from each team that go out, and they're called the blockers. And then one from each team who's called a jammer, and she or he has a special helmet cover with a star on it. And basically, the whistle blows, everybody can start to skate around this oval track, and the players with the stars on their helmet get a point if they pass a player on the other team and lap them.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like auto racing,
Yeah,
but on,
right.
Yeah.
That's right up your alley,
rollers.
Nat.
Yeah, I know.
I know you love
the
that.
the difference, though, I guess, with auto racing is that the 4 players that are on the team from each team,
They're not in
Right.
cars.
Well, no,
They have a job.
they can. They're allowed to try and stop the person from getting past them. So you can you can nudge them out of bounds. You can team up with your teammate to make an impenetrable wall. So that person who's trying to get past the other players, it isn't about speed. It's about agility, and it's about teamwork, both in terms of offense and defense. Getting your girl past, your jammer past, pardon me, and stopping the other jammer from getting past you.
Wow.
Are there like quarters or?
Yeah, you play.
Yeah.
You go out.
Okay.
And you play what's called a jam, and the jam can last up to 2 minutes. And there's more kind of advanced rules about the jam can be called off by the player that gets out of that pack first, that scores points first. They can call the jam off whenever they want. So they can go up to 2 minutes. If nobody gets the lead, then it'll go for 2 minutes. But they often only go for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then you take a little 30-second break, and then you send out a new batch for the next jam.
So it's
And it's played in 2 halves.
2 halves.
Yeah.
Of how many minutes?
30
though?
minutes.
3 minutes. 2 halves?
No.
No.
I told
30 minutes.
30 minute
2
halves.
30
Sorry.
minutes.
I was gonna say, that's fast.
Nat, I was told there would be no math.
Well, we got the Erie Roller Derby coach Goldie Rocks and Prod Chair Gretel Von Metal on the show today, talking about the Erie Roller Derby. So, what is the mission of the Derby itself? Do you have a
I
special?
don't have it pulled up right now.
Okay.
But the overarching mission of the league is to support the community and be a athletic space for women and non-binary and alternatively gendered folks
Okay.
who are not following maybe a complete gender norm.
Okay.
So we're a very inclusive space for a lot of different types of people out there who don't have a place to express themselves.
That is fantastic. That's,
And it's not to say that men actually aren't involved. We do have men involved, but
Yes.
in order to be a player on the team, that's for primarily women and as Goldie said, non-binary folks. But we do have several men involved who help us out with coaching and officiating.
I was going to say,
Yeah, how would you
what's
get into it?
officiating like? Tell me about officiating. Like, is there? What do you get in trouble for? Maybe that's how we should go.
Yeah, it sounds
Okay.
like almost anything goes.
So here's the problem with going into what you get in trouble for is that there are a lot of rules to roller derby.
Oh, geez.
Really?
So breaking them is actually very, very simple. It's a very easy thing to do.
Wow.
And there is a penalty box, and when you break a rule, you're sent to the penalty
So
box.
it's kind of like hockey on
It is
roller
like
skates
hockey,
too.
yes,
Like
very
we're-
much so.
So you go into the bad box for a while.
Yeah, if you've ever seen the movie Slapshot, it's like it's like the little French
I have a
Canadian goalie who's like, you go in the box and you feel the shame.
Most of us feel shame when we go to the box. Not everybody.
So I know that you're not in season right now. Tell us when the season starts.
Well, our season usually starts, we start practicing sometime mid-January, and then we start playing sometime usually in May.
Okay.
But our home season doesn't normally start until June or July.
And then where are you playing at?
So we play our games, our home games, at the Bayfront Convention Center.
I cannot wait to see what.
This-
You know,
I
I've been
think
a
it's-
while. I've been gone a while, Jack. So I'm very excited to come into this whole norm of roller derby. I think it'll be a great time. Is it during the day and
Saturday evenings. So
Saturday
Saturday
evenings?
evening.
playing the whole
Alright.
weekend around it, and then we usually host an after party. I mean, just a place to get together afterwards
For fans and skaters.
fans and skaters to come. So we usually start them around like 7 p.m. and it usually takes about an hour and a half to do the whole game. It's a ton of fun. We have had some double headers in the past.
Where do you have the parties at? If I want to,
Yeah, we're
catch
gonna
a
be
party.
different.
We
Where
actually
are we
do that
going?
at various places around town. In the past, we've done it at Voodoo,
Oh, that's a good time.
Nice.
the Cove down on the bay
Perfect.
there,
Oh, yeah.
Oasis.
Oasis Pub.
And you know what? That's a perfect time to bring people in to see roller derby. Is in summer.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Like where it's beautiful and
Yeah.
you have other things to do besides doing roller derby. I'm sure anybody that you play against probably says we want to go to Erie.
Oh, they
Right?
love our space.
Our space is great. Yeah, I was the so the title of my position changed to production chair, but I was the vice president last season, which I handled all of the scheduling of the season. So it is actually a little bit of a challenge to schedule something in Erie in the summer that's not conflicting with another
Something else.
major
Festival.
Erie
It is
festival.
tough.
We're coming though.
There's
Jack,
so much. Oh yeah, we got to go. I'll go
We're
down,
going.
get a 2-man happy hour picture of them.
Absolutely.
I mean,
No,
we've
you can wear a guitar like you're playing there, and I'll take your photo.
okay, great.
We've all been to the Polish festival plenty of times. Try something new this year, and then go get your pierogies.
Yes.
Go to Zabava. Well, I know that you just wrapped up a camp.
Yes.
Tell me about roller derby camp.
So Skate Camp is the brainchild of a couple of our past members who have recently retired. Well, Bear didn't retire. She moved to a different league. And then Tag, strong female protagonist, has retired and she has moved on to officiating. But they came up with this wonderful program that we run for 8 weeks. We bring in people who of any ability, whether you can stand on wheels or have never been on skates before. whether you figure skated in the past or have never been able to.
I cannot even
stand up on
stand
roller skates.
I would be on the floor
on ice
immediately.
skates, but roller skates I can handle. Do you have a mascot?
We do.
We do. Ghoulie.
Ghoulie?
Ghoulie. Yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about actually how the team formed. The team formed in 2010.
Yeah.
And it was originally called Erie Roller Girls, and Erie was spelled with 2 E's, like, ooh, scary. So we had a lot of, themed merchandise over there with bats and zombies and stuff like that. So we've kind of professionalized to Erie Roller Derby. But we do still love our bat. So we do have a bat.
Do you?
She's a bat. She's wonderful. She comes to the games and she roots for our team and she pumps up the crowd and she's great.
That is, I just, now you're down at the Bayfront Convention Center. You've got this 8-week class. Do you do all your camp over at the only roller rink that we have now in the city?
We do. That's where we do all our practicing.
Westlake.
Yeah.
I go over with the girls on Saturday nights. Jack, remember? I've sent you
my
a couple
gosh.
videos.
Yep, it used to be Evans Skateland.
Yes.
West. Yeah. Now it is Presque Isle Skating and Event Center.
Okay.
And we have our practices there twice a week. So we just play our games at the convention center and we practice over at the
And you
rink.
practice over there.
Is the quick question is the camp for kids or can adults go
18.
or?
Yeah, how old do you have to be?
You have to be 18 years old to play with our league.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, yeah, because I was wondering, is there a kids roller
There
derby?
is.
I mean, that
There
might
absolutely is.
Oh,
Not in Erie yet. That's one of the reasons.
that's what I thought you meant by the camp. You
changed
get the
our
little
name.
ones to start playing.
Yeah. So Buffalo has a juniors league called Queen. I can't remember what they're. Pittsburgh has one called Derby Brats.
That's cool. I can see the coach
there's
right
one
now.
in the Cleveland area in a Crooked River.
They're
The Derby Brats.
So those leagues usually start around like 12 or so.
I've
until
seen them as
17.
young as 8.
Yeah.
But
They usually don't play as full contact.
right.
Oh, sure.
So,
They have levels of play. So they'll
Right.
play bouts where there's no contact, bouts
Yeah.
where there's light contact. And then
Okay,
they'll
and
have-
what do you shield yourself with when you're out there? Like, I'm sure there's elbow pads.
Yeah, we
what
wear
are
just
all the different?
protective gear.
You're required to wear elbow pads, wrist guards, knee pads, a mouth guard, and a helmet.
Okay.
And you're required to wear quad roller skates, so four wheel,
not inline skates.
not inline skates.
Oh,
Nice. I'm a four-wheeler.
would that
from way back.
give you an advantage if you had the inlines?
I think it would
It's
be
just
faster.
different.
It's
just different.
faster,
It is
yeah.
faster, but there's also not. They're differently maneuverable.
Yeah.
if I can say it that way. They're not. They're maneuvering. They maneuver in a different way without trucks. It's a different skate
Yeah.
and it's a different.
Do you have
rolling.
brakes on those too? No, like the
It's
rubber
like-
stoppers
well,
that
there are
So,
rubber stoppers.
I
so
mean, yes, there are.
it's similar to ice skating or even skiing. You can do snowplow stops and
Hockey
stops
stops
and
and-
T stops and
Yeah.
stuff like that, which basically are just dragging your kind of wheels to create friction and slow yourself down.
How fast are you going around that?
So when you're playing,
Oval.
you're not usually going very fast because
Well,
there's somebody
jammers
in your
sometimes.
way.
Jammers do sometimes go very quickly.
Well, once they get past,
Once they get
right.
past once they get past a pack of skaters, they have to get back around to engage that pack of skaters from behind again. So they want to beat the other jammer. They're going very quickly once they get
Wow,
free.
the jammer is like a big deal.
The jammer's
jammer's
one
the
that-
ball.
The jammer's yeah. That's right.
I get it.
She's where all the points lie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She also gets kind of batted around.
Yeah, she also gets hit a lot.
Yeah, the jammer is the target.
Do you
Yeah,
do you have
definitely.
somebody there like for bad bruises of sorts? I'm just
we have
saying.
the
There's always
EMTs.
medics. Yes, we always have medics.
Yeah, I would imagine.
That's part of the WFTDA. They require us to have EMTs on.
And it is, like we
site.
said, it's a contact sport, but there are definitely, rules about what you can do. You can't hit anybody above the shoulders. You can't hit anybody below the knee. You can't hit anybody along the spine.
Right.
So
You're not allowed to be
you
clotheslining
can't-
people. You're not
it's
allowed to be
like-
elbowing people in the face.
It's not like Whip It. Like that was a fun movie, but you can't punch somebody in the face.
it's not a thing
That's
we're
just
allowed to
not.
do.
You'll get
bunch
You'll
of
get kicked
gals.
out.
So you had to keep it below the neck, right?
Yeah.
The neckline and above the waist?
Above the
Above the
knee.
knee.
Above the knee. Oh.
So you
So a
hit-
smaller person would be
hitting
a
your
smaller
hips.
target.
Oh yeah.
Yes, small
having
people
the
are a pain to try to block.
The lower center
no
of
offense,
gravity.
Nat.
Yeah.
Lower center of gravity makes you harder to knock over. So, you know, and that's one of the wonderful things about roller derby. We were just talking about this at our last practice is like there's value in every body type. So if you're tiny
I'm
and
feeling good
agile-
about my apple shape.
if
Oh,
you're-
absolutely.
if
No,
you're
there's
You'd
tiny-
be a
no-
jammer. You'd have to be a jammer now.
Oh, I don't know if I could be fast enough.
If you're tiny and agile, you're a great jammer. If you're a
Ah.
big and immovable object, you're also really, really helpful. If you're, you know, kind of medium sized and maneuverable, that's really great too. And so we do end up with people across the size and shape spectrum and also ages as well. I mean, we talked about you have to be 18 to join. We're both in our mid 40s. And
there is hope for me,
We'll
Jack.
call it mid.
Me too.
we're on the
Same with
we're
Nat
on
now.
the other side of the dispersal, but we've had women in their 50s play with our team.
I think our oldest player, active player, was over 60. So she was
Yeah.
62 in her last game, I believe.
yeah.
So how many on a team? How many are on your team? Like
So
how many?
we field during a game, we field 14 skaters, right?
Okay.
But we have
I don't know.
last year, I think we had about 30 eligible people who were eligible to actually play in a game. So then we have to come up with a roster for each game based on that pool of skaters.
So how do you become eligible? What does that even mean?
Well, you have to be able to skate and hit people
Boom.
That's pretty simple, Jack.
without
roughly
hurting yourself
skate, I would be
or
hitting them
really
with
without breaking
Yeah.
anybody else.
You have to demonstrate that you know how to play, and then you have to attend practices, and you have to pay your dues to the league and all
okay.
that kind of boring.
Gotcha.
You also have to do things like be in the community with our team. There
That's
are
great.
service hours. There are all sorts of things that you,
You know,
have to
and I've
fulfill.
seen you out in the community because you were up at the Erie News Now food drive a couple weeks ago, hanging out and collecting food. And I was like, I need to know more about these derby girls.
It is really cool.
It is. And the thing is, well, since you've been going since 2010, right?
Yeah, that's when the league formed here. I started playing in 2011 in Virginia. When did you start?
I started. I only played for I think 5 years, so I think I started in 2017.
Yeah. So
So what brought you girls to derby? Like personally? Like did
I'm a nepotism baby, so my sister played roller derby.
baby, I love it.
Yeah, my sister played roller derby for Washington D.C. for the D.C. Demon Cats, and she also played on their the DC All Stars. So I had seen her play many times, and I knew there was a team in Erie, and I just needed the right time to be able
To be doing
do
it.
that.
Well, how about you, Gretel von Metal?
Well, I was a figure skater as a kid on ice skates. So I loved skating. I was not. I was good at spinning. I was not good at jumping. If there had been roller derby around, I think I probably would have really liked that. But then I lived in Washington D.C. and I read an article about roller derby in a magazine, and this was in the early days. And one of the first teams was in Baltimore, and I really wanted to play, but I didn't own a car, and I had no way to get to Baltimore.
To 2 hurdles.
Several years later, I ended up in Charlottesville, Virginia, and there was a team there. So I started, I was 32. I joined the team. And
Did you live in Charlottesville at the time?
Yeah, I lived in Charlottesville.
I was in the Shenandoah Valley.
Yeah.
I lived in Stanton. I know.
Yeah, I know all those places.
We're all around you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I mean, I thought that my ability to skate meant that I, wasn't as concerned about like falling over as much as some of the other players, but it was still as hard as it was for everybody else for me to learn how to play it. Like it's definitely a game with a lot of rules and strategy, but it just it's like a bug. It just bit me. I can't stop.
So speaking of, there's a lot of strategies, there's a lot of rules, and then you end up in the penalty box. What are some of the penalties?
Well, I mean,
I'm curious.
so one of the biggest penalties is hitting people where they're not supposed to be hit.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So hitting people in the spine, hitting people in the head, hitting people below the knee, things like that. Another of the big penalties is roller derby has to be played in one direction. It has to be played along the track in a very specific derby direction. So you are not allowed to hit people going the opposite direction. So
can't go backwards
You
and
can't
hit
go
somebody
backwards and
behind
hit
you.
somebody behind
Oh, you can't slow down.
you. You can slow down.
Oh,
You just can't go the other
You
direction
can't
and
stop
hit
and
someone.
go the other direction.
You can't turn around.
And go back and snipe
just do
someone.
not turn around. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. So, how many people did you recruit during your latest? How did camp go?
We're hoping. Well, it won't. We won't know until it pans out next year.
Okay.
But we think we'll probably get about 10.
To come back.
Yeah, we'll probably
Nice.
get about 10 to come back.
And so we're getting to the point where we could maybe reasonably have 2 teams.
We're
which would be
hoping.
great.
We're hoping to have 2 teams next year.
We're talking about how we want to do those teams. Do we want to have do we want to have a real competitive A team and a B team of newer players? Do we want to have a rec league that just plays for fun and a competitive league? There's lots of ways we could work it out, but it's pretty exciting. The boot camp has worked out really
it's been
well
so
for
amazing.
us. The recruitment has gone a lot better with the boot camp because all of those skaters are coming in and we're doing nothing but pay attention to them for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Whereas previously they'd show up and we'd be practicing and doing other things, and it was really hard to kind of manage onboarding new people.
So then in January, we kick off
In January, we kick off
practices.
again. Yeah.
And then everything goes on in June.
Well,
Does it start in June or July?
Erie. I think May, I thought you said, and then June.
so we could play a game tomorrow.
could play
if we wanted
anytime.
to.
Yeah.
It's not like sanctioned. It's not. We make
There's no
individual. We make individual agreements with other teams, and we have contracts that we sign to go and play them.
Sure.
So we can set up games for whenever we want. We tend to play our home games in the summer because that's when the convention center is available. Actually, because Erie's so nice in the summer that people don't want to do things inside.
Yeah.
But other teams will invite us to come and play them, as early as February or March. It's just a question of whether or not we want to, whether we're ready, and that sort of thing.
Do you bring in the whole track when you come in?
It's just tape.
It's just tape on the floor. Yeah.
Oh. I was thinking
What
of
kind
this
of
the
tape,
kind
girls? What kind of tape?
Yeah.
Gaffer's tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you also put some rope underneath
Yeah.
the tape so you can feel where the boundaries of the track are, because you can't, if you go outside of the track, you have to come back in behind.
See, that is something new to me
That
too.
is crazy.
We've done a lot of track setup this year. Me and
I bet.
I've done a lot of track setup for 5 years.
yeah.
We've got Erie roller derby coach Goldie Rocks, prod chair Gretel of Von Metal. I love that name, by the way, because I love heavy metal. Now, you are a nonprofit organization.
We just got nonprofit status. We're very excited about it.
501c3.
Great, a 501c3, and support is needed in our community. How can we help?
So the first way you can always help is attend the games. That is our number one. That's where we get the money that we use in the community is mainly from those games.
How do you find out about the games? That's what.
Our games are always posted on our social medias. So our social media handles are all just Erie Roller Derby,
Okay.
Yeah.
spelled as you would expect. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're even on TikTok. So feel free to join us there, and you will find when we have a schedule ready, we will post it there.
And the schedule will probably be ready in the spring, and we'll post that so you can plan ahead.
Since it sounds like kind of a special event, Nat, I need your opinion on this. Can we make, if they've got a radio playing at the thing, a little bit of music, couldn't I put them on the 2-man happy hour?
Sure.
Yeah, put them on. You guys, when you have a thing, I'll show you after the show where you can put it on, and I'll put it on the weekly list, just like I do Keller.
Just like he does for the
That'd
music.
be wonderful.
That
Yeah.
would be great. Yeah, we would really appreciate that.
In a heartbeat.
I mean,
We always
the-
have a DJ.
The convention center. Yeah.
Who is it? Do we know who it is?
I don't
remember
his
his-
name.
Wait,
He's great. We love him.
Are there items that you need? Like people are listening.
Yeah.
What do the Erie roller
you know,
derby gals need?
I will say you have something to say as well.
I sure do.
So we are very happy to skate at the roller rink, but we would love to have some more flexible space.
Yes.
So if somebody in town has some flat,
Large empty
gym,
space.
like a a warehouse space that we could use for practice for scrimmages. One of the things we wanted to do last year was invite teams who are, within 2 hours to just come and play like an informal scrimmage with us and share a practice. And it was really difficult because weeknights are not great for that.
Right.
So other places that we can utilize for
So you're
various
looking for
types
another
of
space,
events.
so you
And we should have on our social media, and we'll definitely put it up after this, just a rundown of the specs of what we're looking for, the size we need, and it just needs to be a flat floor. And we do get a lot of folks telling us like, "Oh, we're afraid your wheels will ruin our gym floor," but they're rubber wheels. Like they're not going to ruin and they're not hard. They're not going to make marks. They're not going to make dents.
Could it be a wooden floor, or could it be does it
Anything.
matter?
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
as long as
Anything
it's
that's
flat.
flat.
I mean, we also play outside. We did an outdoor game in September this year. I couldn't go to it. And we have done some kind of guerrilla practices at like tennis courts.
Guerrilla practices. See, it's probably gorilla tape too.
It's not, surprisingly.
But what are some of the other things?
What else
A
do
space,
we need?
other spaces.
So that was the number one thing I was thinking of as well. So
Yeah.
she
Okay.
covered
I mean,
that.
we
If
did-
you want to
it's-
donate things, we
yeah.
are always looking for gear. So all those pads that we mentioned, all the helmets, and
Great.
even used gear is fine as well, as
Yeah.
long as it's not a mouth guard. We don't do
Right.
used.
Yeah,
But
You know,
all the rest of the
you
used
don't
gear,
need it. We
absolutely.
don't need a ton of equipment to play. I mean, you need your personal protective gear. So we do have with our boot camp, our skate camp. If players show up, we have gear to lend them until they decide they want to
they
make the
wanna do-
investment.
Sure.
But we can always use more of that loaner gear because people are all different sizes.
Well,
Yes.
I've learned a lot in this half hour. Jack, have you?
More than I have ever known in almost 60 years.
I know about Erie Roller Derby. And I think what will stay with me is the fact that there is a place for everybody
There is
absolutely.
indeed.
in your organization. And I love that.
It is really, really beautiful. We were joking about doing an ad for next year, like the Dove Beauty ads, where we'd all be in our like uniforms and different sizes, and
I love it. And now that you are a nonprofit organization too, it can only get better. And for more people to know that you're out there and you're doing great things, and there is a place for everybody in your organization.
Absolutely.
Love it. Thank you for coming on. We got Goldie Rocks, Prod Chair Gretel Von Metal. Thank you for coming on the show this morning. I appreciate you both. Thank you.
so much. This has
Very
been
happy
lovely.
to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Now it's the king of the scene in the 814. Jackie boy, how are you?
I am good, Nat. How are you?
Well, I notice you're pretty chilly. I mean, I believe it's like 67 degrees up in here right now. But
Right.
it's
Tis the
winter.
time of the year.
Tis the season, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, you've got a couple great tunes here that I'm dying to play.
Oh.
This first one's called "I've Just Begun to Care," and it was my absolute favorite when you sent it over. So I would like you to tell me more.
Well, the name, it's called I Just Begun to Care. The actual original title was a strange word called propinquity. And I don't even know what that means. I guess I should look it up.
I was going to say,
But in parenthesis after it, it says I just begun to care. I recorded this. You know Matt Boland,
Yes.
local musician. Well, he's got a studio in town, Aerotones Studio, over on 32nd Cherry area.
Okay.
And so I'm telling him about this song. He goes, "Yeah, I never heard this song." I said, "You're gonna know the guy who wrote it." Do you know who wrote it?
no,
Nat?
I do not,
No.
Jack.
It was written by a guy from a very famous quote unquote TV band from around the time of the Beatles.
The Monkees.
The Monkees, yeah.
This is Mike Dolenz.
Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. He always had a little bit of a country flair and a twang to it, so
Let's listen.
that's it.
Great.
I've known for a long time the kind of girl you are. Smiles that cover teardrops, the way your head yields to your heart. The things you kept inside, most girls couldn't bear. I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. Yes, I've known all your heartache, sunshine, and I've seen you when it rains. Seen you make a look of love from just an icy stare. I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. I know I've been blind to not have loved you all of this time, but the image of you wasn't clear. I guess I was standing too near. It's taken me a while, but I have finally found what you are to me, and that's what really counts. 'Cause what you are to me is something we can share. I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. I know I've been blind to not have loved you all of this time, but the image of you wasn't clear. I guess I was standing too near. It's taken me a while, but I have finally found what you are to me, and that's what really counts. 'Cause what you are to me is something we can share. I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. Yes, I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care.
Jack Stevenson, nice job. I just begun to care.
Thank you so much for
I
that.
love that. You know, Jack, you are the king of the scene. Let's talk. You know, when did you really start getting your feet wet in the music scene? Like,
Oh, geez. Yeah, I've been playing for 42 years. My first gig, I was an athlete up through prep. So I graduated at 17, and with my graduation money, I bought a bass.
now wait though, weren't you
From
playing
Little
like
John.
that?
From
Did
Little
you?
John on Buffalo Road, and was in a band about 6 months.
Were you?
Yeah, I just really got the bug. You know how people get the bug for golf?
I thought you started with a ukulele for some strange reason.
Well, I do love the ukulele.
I know because you've played the ukulele many times. I thought maybe that was your first instrument, but it was the guitar.
It was a bass.
Oh, it was the
that was
bass.
A bass. It was a bass. And so played bass. The first band was called Middle Earth, and the head of the band was a big Hobbit fan. Right? That's where that took place in Middle Earth. But here's a good thing, though. That band eventually turned into a band that you know, Endless Summer, with Mike Lotz and Jim Boroway.
When did Endless Summer start? Now,
Oh, my
let's
God.
go back.
And well, that band started, I want to say in 1982 or 3. But then I don't know when it turned into, because then I had moved on. I left the band and then came back and played for a couple more years as Endless Summer with them and Mike Lotz and Jim and oh my god!
And you're still playing with those guys.
Yeah, every once
Like
in a while.
you still are. Tell me about Jackson Station, because that was a biggie for you.
Jackson Station was, was my first band after Wolf Gordon, which was kind of a.
That's right. You
That
were a
was
Wolf
kind
boy,
of
too.
that was kind of a mix. Kind of, if you compare them today, it'd be kind of like the Geeks or
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that. The I-90s. That's what Wolf Gordon was. So that was the first band after that, and I really kind of made my mind up that I'm going to play these songs that I grew up with, like Springsteen and Tom Petty and Mellencamp and Mike Nesmith and all that stuff. And so that's really where it came about. And we got lucky enough to play some really big shows. And we opened for Cheap Trick.
I know you. Where did they play? Because was I there? Was I in town? Was I around?
No,
I don't think
no.
so.
Yeah, no, you weren't in town. In
Was
fact,
it down at Erie Days?
Yeah, it was at Erie Days. Mojin AC introduced us. We
Sure.
met all the guys. We hung out. It was just it was a thrill of a lifetime. I got to meet Rick Nielsen. He invited me and my son to be his guests backstage, and it was just great.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, I'm going to put you on the spot on this one because I
Yeah.
know that you're in a lot. Tell me all the bands you're in. You're in Johnny Karate.
Johnny Karate Garage Band. Now, Jack Stevenson and the Buried Treasure Band. That is kind of a what Jackson Station used to be.
Great horns.
Yeah, so
You got a lot
all
going
that
on
stuff.
there.
6 guys in that band. We have the Carnival Brothers, which
Okay.
is
It has nothing to do with John Carnival, correct?
well, it's kind of homage to the Carnival Brothers, who
Absolutely.
back when we started playing as Wolf Gordon, they would have we were like one of the house bands.
Yes, you
and
were.
so I love those guys at the Rasco. Their heart's in the right spot when they come. They give everybody a chance to play.
Yes.
And they do such
a
a good job.
I believe that's the first place that my band, Nat and the Mad Hatters, played was at Rathskeller. I'm pretty
yeah.
Sure. And he gives us several different dates and we just have a great time. I love being outside too. He's got it going on out there.
It's really
Boogie and you're boogieing early on 24th and State. It used to be, boogie late at 18th and State, but
well, there's hardly any more really late things going.
I know.
mean,
I think COVID changed that, Jack.
without a doubt. Yeah. Oh, it was crazy.
Or maybe we're just getting older and we're like, we're going to rock now because we'll probably be in bed by midnight. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know how that works. But
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we started working on 2-man happy hour way before COVID.
Yeah.
We had the idea to do a show, and then COVID hit, and there was no more music, and then there was no more showcase.
Right.
And really, what you see in the 2-man happy hour list was supposed to be an afterthought to the show. But when COVID hit, there were no shows, so everything kind of got put on hold.
And Jack, there's not the paper anymore.
Right.
Dave Richards.
Yeah.
You're like the new Dave Richards.
Right.
For the internet. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, because you are turning around and you're getting the bands are sending their works to you. You let everybody know.
Yeah.
And it's 2manhappyhour.com, or they can just pop right on to the site and look, see where their favorite band is playing, or check out a new band, because let's be honest, Jack, there's a lot of great musicianship in this town.
You would not believe, and for the day job, I used to travel all around and I see what's going on with the, scenes in other towns that I go to, and
We compare.
without a doubt.
I mean, we compare to the big cities.
Yeah. I mean, the goal of 2-man happy hour is to get Erie noticed as the key rock and roll place here in the state of Pennsylvania. And there are guys in town that want to get back and, want to back me, and they want to get to Harrisburg. And there's,
Jack, look behind you.
I know, is that right? Crazy.
You know what I mean? Like we are down on the lake. There's no better place to rock and roll than right down on this lake.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, I'm sitting there playing at Oliver's, and
Right.
got my guitar, and I'm looking out over the crowd, and the sun's going down, and I'm thinking to myself, no place has got anything on this. We just got to get the word out. So, and that's why I do the show. That's why I never charge any money for it.
Jack, and let me back up, because you do a lot of preparation to get that out every week. Like, I will talk to you. You'll be like, "Now I can't talk. I gotta go home. I gotta put the list together. I got things to do." But and then not only are you doing that, because you are the king of the scene, you also get out and see people and take pictures of people, and you're like at 9 different venues in a night. Like, I don't know. I think we need to get a cutout of you and start putting you around town.
Well, it's just part of, you got to put your money where your mouth is.
That's right.
And that's the way I really believe it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a great scene. There is no reason we are not hopping like Put-in Bay. There's no reason we're not hopping like Traverse City, Michigan. There is no reason there's an open hotel room at all here from May through October.
And then, when you see the Auckland, the Auckland night that we went to a
How
couple
fun
of
was
weeks
that?
ago, realizing that, this music scene was going on many, many moons before we rocked a stage. Right?
Oh my God.
I got a question for you.
What?
I've always wanted to ask you this: what would you say to a local musician who is starting to get involved with the music scene in the 814? What would you tell them?
Well, I'm probably going to fall back on this big debate that I see, but you got to be versatile, okay? If you're a new band, we love your own original music, but and if you want to play big places, you got to fill it with people. I would say don't close yourself on as just a cover band or just an original band. If you're starting out, the Beatles were a cover band, period.
Right.
The Stones were a cover band, period. And then they started working in their originals, and then they found some covers that kind of went hand in hand. So
You're
that
making me rock back and forth as we speak, hand in hand. You're right, though, Jack.
Yeah, so that's what I would say. And you see people arguing about it all the time on Facebook. Oh, my band's original. So, well, I got to be honest with you. Just because it's an original song doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
There are some bad original songs that I've heard. There's some really great ones.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me your favorite artist nationally? Is it the Boss?
It's such a hard thing. I love the Boss. He's the reason.
Is there one that you emulate in your very own shows?
No, but I could tell you I emulate three. A lot of times when I'm singing, it's Springsteen or Tom Petty.
I can feel that.
Sure. If I'm back playing the guitar, it would be Keith Richards, or if it's acoustic, Pete Townsend. Because they're my favorites. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the next tune that we're going to play. It's called Angel Dream.
Angel Dream. It is, again, thanks to Maddie B. Maddie Broke Ballin.
And people need to know that it's the Pickles. He is the head pickle.
Yeah, and at Aerotone Studios, I'm going on after we're done today because I had to do some runaround. In fact, the cold weather. Unfortunately, my voice is going down a little bit, but so this song, Angel Dream, he didn't really release it on one of his albums. It's a great tune. It appeared on a soundtrack that he and the Heartbreakers did for a movie called She's the One. And so this appears on it, and it's.
I love you picking out things that not a lot of people really know about, but this is a Petty tune.
Yeah, Tom Petty.
It is Angel Dream.
I dreamed you, I saw your face, cut my lifeline, I went floating through space. I saw an angel, I saw my fate. And I can only thank God it was not too late. Over mountains I floated away, across an ocean I dreamed your name. Followed an angel down through the gate, and I can only thank God it was not too late. Sing a little song of loneliness, sing one to make me smile. Another round for everyone, I'll be here for a while. And now I'm walking these streets on my own. But she's with me everywhere I go. Yeah, I found an angel. I found my place. And I can only thank God it was not too late. I can only thank God it was not too late. I can only thank God it was not too late.
An Angel Dream. There you go, Jack. Nice job.
Beautiful.
The studio work is great.
Yeah.
Did Matty Boland do all that?
He was fantastic. If you're looking to do some recording, yeah, it's Aerotone Studios, and he walks you around. Because have you ever been in the studio for
No.
music? I never. That's my first
I
time.
had a home studio there for a while,
Yeah.
like down in Corpus Christi when I lived down there. So
Yeah.
we did a lot of work in the home studio, but not
He has
I've
not.
never been in.
He has not spared one expense at this place. It's really
awesome.
cool.
Tell me what's up for the King of the Scene, Jack Stevenson, in 2024. What are you gonna do? Is there another band in the works? Are you keeping to the 5 that you were already with, or how does that
So
work?
we got, we're keeping the bands the same: Buried Treasure, Karate, Carnival Brothers, Acoustic Gypsies, and Solo. All right. Yeah, it's going to be busy. I've got about 100 shows booked for next year.
I was going to say, you are definitely everywhere.
Yeah. So
Already 100 bookings.
100 bookings for 2024. And so we're going to keep going with the show.
Yeah.
I've been working, trying to coax Dave Richards into helping me out with an idea that I have that I really think is going to put Erie on the map, music-wise. But I need his he's got that flair,
Yes, he
for
does.
writing, and he knows the rock scene, and all that. So that'll be pretty cool. That's going to be big.
Well, that would be wonderful because David is really a legend.
Yeah.
Dave Richards is in this town.
Oh my God! When
And the stories that he tells
unbelievable.
about the bands that he's seen and sitting at home and getting phone calls from all these great artists as years and years and years of being in the part of the newspaper. But
Well, he's still part. He goes out to a lot of shows, and I see him
seen
all
him.
the time.
Yeah.
And we always have a great conversation, and he's into it. His heart's in the right spot, and he's a good guy.
yeah. So
You know?
well, that'll be exciting.
So
to hear.
that will be
Great news.
exciting. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we got coming up.
You got some shows coming up though too. You'll be
This week we're going to be at Saturday night at the Sportsman's Club. We've
Okay.
got, and
so all they have to do is go on a 2-man happy hour.
go to
find
2-Man
out
Happy Hour. They'll see.
where you're at and find out where everybody else is at too as well. Has the scene quieted down some now that winter has approached?
We're averaging about 120 to 160 gigs a week. We were going up to 240 a week over the summer.
So how far are you encompassing the 2-man happy hour?
2-Man Happy Hour, we go Pennsylvania, New York, and Ohio.
Okay.
If you're a venue, you can send. I like to stay within 30 minutes if we can.
Sure.
However, if you're an Erie musician and you play in Virginia, like Smilo and the Ghost do, I'll put it in. Hey, maybe there's an Erie person down there. Come and say hi.
That is awesome too. That's a big deal.
If you're a musician from around here and you go anywhere, I'll put it in.
That's how I talked to Steamroller. Help me. Who's in the James Taylor tribute band?
Oh.
Help me.
Now you've got me. Sam Hyman. Sam and Molly and the gang.
And then Sammy said, after the new year, he goes down to Florida. And I'm like, Sammy, that's great that you get to spend some time in some warm weather and play James Taylor music. So it's really good that, LECOM, we are worldwide, that we can tell people that Sammy's down that way and you want to go see him. Because there's a lot of snowbirds.
I down. When I travel, I can listen to Lou Baxter in the morning.
I know.
If I'm walking, somewhere to a conference, and I can listen if I'm. Usually, I travel on Sunday, so I can catch Bill Page, his '80s show.
Yes.
I bring a travel guitar and jam out in the hotel room.
That's great, Jack. Jack, thank you for your continued
thanks for having me on.
Support of the local music scene. And if you want to find out what's going on, all you have to do is log on to twomanhappyhour.com. How about the roller derby gals?
Oh, my God.
They just whisked right out of here on their roller skates, didn't they?
They were
Goldie
fun.
Rocks, Gretel Von Metal. They were on the show today. You can find a recording of the King of the Scene and the Roller Derby Queens on our LECOM Live app, Spotify, and it's Nat the Hat in the 814 on YouTube. So, Jack, thank you so much for coming on. Make it a fabulous week in the 814. Enjoy the world famous polka show with Bob and Alice coming on next. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from Maya Angelou about the holiday season. This is really a doozy. She says, "You can tell a lot about a person by the way he or she handles these three things: a snowy day, lost luggage, and tangled Christmas lights." Thanks for listening, folks.
You've been tuned in to Breakfast with Nat the Hat in the 814, sponsored by Erie Insurance on 88.5 and 102.7 LECOM Radio.